Hello, this is Gate 1. As part of our Expert of Customer Experience series, our client director David Ford speaks to Liam Young, the founder of Harper Concierge.
Harper could be described, I suppose, as a cross between online personal styling service, giving customers the opportunity to use their home as a changing room, but also a courier in terms of offering that final mile delivery. How would you describe yourselves?
We talk about it as delivering the in-store experience to the online customer or the at-home customer, because it can be a retail experience as well. But I think your description covered it nicely.
And in terms of you predominantly work with premium and luxury brands. Is there a typical size of business in terms of like revenue or e-commerce order that best leverage what you provide and what you offer?
Yeah, we typically like to work with brands that are doing over 1,000 online orders per month. But some luxury brands, they can be less than this, and sometimes we can work with those too, because the service obviously has a lot of value for luxury brands. But that's typically the range, and the reason we look for that is because, we are training up our mobile sales associate team to deliver those brands. It's really important that they're actually interacting with the brand frequently, and it's not just like, one visit per day or per week, for example.
Yeah. One of the interesting things that we've seen a lot of, and I'm sure you'll have read about or maybe even looked to sort of try, is around not just delivering to where people live, but to where they are. And if you explored looking at, well, not just go to people's homes, we would go to where they're working, if they're at a hotel, if they're out and about, to try and deliver that same service or experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do. We call it the try at home service, because it's easy to communicate on a button.
Yeah.
And it does make up, say, 95% of actual visits. The thing that I found interesting, actually, I always thought the percentage of, let's say, office appointments would be much higher. But what I've realized since launching it is customers don't want to be trying items on or getting them to deliver to work. Often they have to.
Yeah.
Like some retailers or some delivery companies are still doing 9 to 5 signed for. And if
Yeah.
you're working in an office job, you're forced, customers are trying them on in bathrooms. Like, does the customer want that? Does the retailer want that?
Yeah.
You're lugging them back on the tube. When you actually give the customer the freedom to shop wherever they want, most often they choose their home. They have their wardrobe, they have their lighting, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
But we will deliver to wherever a customer wants. We've done all sorts. We've done restaurants, we've done a lot of hotels. Like we did the bathroom of the Ritz once. A customer was shopping between
Very
meetings.
Nice.
So we will make it work. But given the choice, customers are most often tending to choose homes.
I suppose building on that, and to your point, where possible, customers will want that in-home experience. Where you find that you're doing it in an environment where it's more challenging to maybe deliver the service you'd like, i.e. in a bathroom, even if it's in the Ritz, and I'm sure it's very nice, a very nice bathroom. How do you find you have to tweak the experience for customers to still give them that great level of service?
I think that the art of the possible and making things happen even in the not best environments is all part of a great customer experience.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same as trying it on with their wardrobe, but actually if they want it in a bathroom and they can have that experience, that's incredible customer service. But all of our style concierges, they're very dynamic, they're very empathetic, and they're trained to work in many, many environments with many different types of people. So just being very adaptable. And that's the beauty of humans, and we are adaptable. We can, sometimes it's a bit rigid when you're doing a just pure online experience, because you're forced to put customers into boxes. With humans and that human interaction, you can really just adapt on the go and make it the best experience possible.
And thinking about the commercial model for Harper, how do you make that work for both, I suppose, the brand and the customer?
Our commercial model is fairly flexible by brand, to be honest. We always try to make it work with our partners. But it typically is made up of a service fee, so a percentage of the sale, which is paid for by the brand, a delivery fee, which can be paid for by the brand or the customer, and sometimes even a monthly fee for some of the additional services that we offer, like customer listening, which is just helping brands to learn more about their customer base, because obviously we're very close to the online customer, and online you see very little of them. It ranges again depending on the value of the brand. Some of the brands that we serve can be like a £200 transaction value, £300, and some of them are in the thousands. Obviously some visits are above 10,000, so that the commercials are going to change quite significantly depending on that.
the customer listing element. So is that an additional service that brands can purchase to better understand consumer behavior, purchasing decisions, etc., that they're making?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, even think about things like product feedback. Like at the moment, you probably get a tick box on a form, and it might say, 80% of customers said this product was too big. And that's all you get. One of the brands actually told us that they would get the top answer on the returns form was getting ticked a lot. So they shuffled the answers around and found that the customers were just tending to just choose the top one because it was easy. So you don't even know how accurate that feedback is. With Harper, we can say, 80% of customers who tried this product purchased it, and this is why. So given the feedback, or 80% of customers returned it, and this is why. So not just generic too big, but too broad on the shoulder. Material was too tight. The customers are usually a 10 and it's an 8. It needs to be sized up or sized down, like real qualitative and quantitative feedback about product. And even things like marketing attribution. Like the customer can tell us that they've seen it on a certain, a certain campaign or a certain influencer. And that was what initiated the sale. Some of the brands were doing hundreds or thousands of appointments for. Like imagine trying to do a focus group with all of those customers. Like, you couldn't even get the customer that we serve sometimes into a room. But it's a real kind of low touch, non-intrusive way of gathering real customer insight.
Yeah. And, it enables them to deliver a better experience and also increase the likelihood of people, purchasing their products and services. So it should be a win-win for all sides.
Exactly. And customers as well, they want that feedback to go back to the brands. If it's a brand that they love, and again, we do it anonymously, but if it is a brand they love and, the new collection was launched and it was disappointing for them, or they didn't like the new direction, they will tell us and they'll talk about it and they'll talk about the style concierge. And that's the stuff that a brand wants to hear.
And how do you kind of identify the last mile person to, go into someone's home or at their place of where they would like to take the garments? What sort of kind of behaviors and attributes are you looking for to give that great experience to people?
Yeah, that's a really good question. What we're looking for at the end of the day is that they are empathetic, warm, personable. Like it's not so much about qualifications. It's really about the type of person. Sometimes, we've got a 3-stage interview process that we've refined to find the perfect type of person for this service. You can tell within the first 5 minutes if somebody's not right. Have you connected with them? Have they made you instantly at ease? Because sometimes when you're with a customer, especially with this service, you have a minute or a couple of minutes to make a customer feel comfortable. So that's the thing we're looking for, that core skill, those human attributes. And then we're looking that, they can help customers with outfits and things like that. But often it's more about service led. So we are selling through service and helping customers find what they're looking for. So really it's about the personality type. Our profile is it's somebody who you can imagine working in a store, but it works very well for profiles who can no longer work in stores. So maybe, sometimes you've got to a stage in your life when you can't work a 9-hour shift over evenings and weekends. And Harper is flexible working. And so it works very well for people who like that and love working with customers, but can't commit to those hours. So since we started recruiting that type of profile, it's really found this perfect profile where the average age has actually increased. A lot of young parents actually, who maybe did used to work in retail and no longer can. So that's typically what we look for.
Yeah, and I can imagine with the societal change we have around how people are working, that does lend itself to this type of model. And equally with the high street, a number of high street brands, declining and being less space, so it gives you a good opportunity to get a very good high caliber of person to be able to deliver that experience. Yeah,
exactly. There was a real squeeze on hiring and everybody was struggling. I think it's changed a little bit now, but in the last year or so, and we didn't really feel it the same way. And I think it's just because we were recruiting for a different profile.
It'd be great for you to talk a bit more about, I suppose, the Harper experience. So if I bought some garments online, what would happen when you would arrive at my property?
If you go to any of our partner websites, and we do some store-to-door business as well, so it's assisting personal shoppers and remote sales teams. But if you were to go to any of our brands like Victoria Beckham, Salvatore Ferragamo, and M&M, you would see, if you ever see a try at home button below the checkout, that's usually Harper. Okay. And what that allows you to do is to say, actually, I want to try a few of these pieces on. Maybe I'm not confident on fit. I've never shopped this brand before. Or I'd just like to try them on at the end of the day. It's clothing, it's fashion. You do want to try the product on. You can choose the try at home button and choose a convenient time. So it's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. And then one of our brand trained sales associates will hand deliver you the pieces. give you the opportunity to try them on. And it can be a to-the-door service or a through-the-door service. So again, using the analogy of a store, some customers just want to really try on in peace, try on in their own time, and then basically purchase what they want to keep and get assisted when they need it. Some customers really actually like that reassurance, that second opinion, that expertise. So you as a consumer can choose whether you want the person effectively in helping or to leave and return. And once you've tried the pieces on and made a decision, the style concierge will take payment for the pieces you keep and take anything away straight off your hands, just hyper convenient. And the benefit for the retailer is that those products are coming back immediately. You know, they're not sat with a customer for 30 days. It's back to be sold to other consumers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what are the typical kind of garments or types of things that you see customers buying? I know it may vary by brand, but is there things that normally will stand out?
I'd say the service is amazing for items that need to be tried on.
Yeah.
So the higher value the item, the more or the higher the quality of the item, you know, that's typically something that you want to try on. If it's fitted or fits a concern, that you'd want to try it on. So the service is definitely for fitted items, dresses, ready to wear. It's incredible for shoes. It's incredible for, but even like bags, you know, if it's a high value bag, it's something that a customer wants to see. Like that is the sweet spot of the service.
Have you seen or the stats change in terms of percentage of chosen items being kept?
Yeah, 100%. It's the average basket size with Harper obviously ranges by brand, but it's 4 to 7 items tried. Mm-hmm. Think about an average basket size online. It's usually between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Average units per transaction. And after like a 30 to 50% returns rate, you know, we often see brands will actually have a net UPT of less than 1. Mm. So there's a lot of instances where a customer is not buying anything. You know, you've invested the marketing money, and ultimately the customer hasn't bought. So it's, you know, it's not efficient. And with Harper, they'll try on between, like I said, 4 and 7. I think 5.5 is about the average at the moment. Mm-hmm. And they'll typically buy between 30 and 40%. So when you take the net basket size, it's typically closer to 2 items than 1. So there's a lot. It's a lot rarer, let's say, or more rare, for the customer to not purchase anything with Harper. I think the biggest opportunity for retailers is everybody's been so focused on acquisition, so focused on paid, you know, giving money to Google, giving money to Facebook. For me, it's lifetime value. So you've acquired that customer. How do you keep that customer? How do you create more products that they want? And how do you increase that lifetime value? Because if you're spending £70 to acquire a customer and they're shopping once, you know, that is a problem and it's often not profitable.
How do you find the balance between, I suppose, leveraging the relationship with the brand as well as with the end customer?
So that was always the kind of challenge when we were launching, actually. Just, you know, you're working with these premium brands, luxury brands, and their relationship with the customer is obviously so important. And I think initially it was quite strange for them to have a third party, almost in a way come between them and the customer. But my argument always was, you know, who is looking after that relationship at the moment when a customer orders at home? Mm. And it's usually the last mile service providers, the couriers, and they are companies that aren't built for customer experience. And, you know, if you look at any of these brands' Trustpilots and you look at the 1-star reviews, it's usually naming the courier, not them. So that's what we're replacing. We're replacing the courier with a more premium luxury offering.
And, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've seen as well, particularly at the, I suppose, the higher end in luxury fashion, is that's the difference between a great experience and people wanting to actually, you know, complain or to say that it's not what they expected in terms of that delight moment once the product arrives.
100%. And that's exactly why I started the business. So I'm a typical online shopper. I'll shop a lot at home. Now, I love going to the store when I can, and that's an incredible experience. Mm. But when you're shopping at home, just the kind of difference in service levels is so drastic. And like the retailers really trying to kind of just match those service levels now.
One of the things I'd be good to get your thoughts on is there's always that balance for the concierge, the person who owns that property, between delivering the right experience, but balancing, I suppose, the commerciality of the brand component, i.e. we want to ensure that you choose the garments that are right for you, but equally want to ensure that you're, you know, buying into that brand to get that relationship. How do you find that balance and managing that?
It's a really good question, and it gets a lot of thought from us, especially in the early days. For us, it's really about getting that balance right. And for us, it's like I said, it's really about lifetime value.
Yeah.
Like the risk if you go in there and you try and sell more is you probably can. You know, the customer trusts you and you can probably sell more on the day. But then afterwards, if it's an item that they didn't get value from, or they felt they were sold to, and they felt like you were being pushy, they won't return. And that's the opposite of what we want to achieve. You know, we were founded honestly from a customer experience, from an end consumer experience pain point. So we've always been obsessed with that end consumer experience, and it can't be salesy. Like I said, sales through service, that's how we position it.
Yeah.
It's like we always want to help customers find the item they're looking for. Like if there's a no sale, which happens far too often online, like that customer's, not only is it bad for the brand, but that's bad for the customer. Customers spent their time, they've not found what they're looking for. So our job is to help them find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's additional opportunities that you do find. But you know, it really is for us about, it's not just increasing basket size, it's about increasing retention and lifetime value.
Yeah. The growth of people getting things delivered to home. Have you seen the competitor landscape change, or some of the people who are maybe delivering below expectations start to kind of up their game during this period?
I have actually. So I think that is one, I think it's a good thing, to be honest, because I'm a customer too, and everybody's up the game a little bit. It's still very different at the end of the day. A lot of these are still couriers, and they are really built for cost, efficiency, speed, not necessarily customer experience. You know, you see that quality cost, you know, that classic triangle. You can't have everything. So Harper is designed to be more aligned with the retailer's kind of sales objectives. So we're not just delivering a luxury experience. We're designed to help increase basket sizes, increase value. So I'd say that the kind of core fundamentals getting better. People are delivering more on time. I think customer service is getting better. But at the end of the day, it's still, you know, there still leaves a lot to be. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have a delivery, best case is it's just delivered and you're just kind of content. If it goes wrong in any way, you're disappointed. But very rarely is it anything to write home about. You know, like you're not becoming a promoter because you had like a delivery on time. Like Harper takes it from being this kind of like very standard out the box experience to being a real place where you can deliver value and drive sales.
You've talked about some of the, you know, pain points that customers experience and you experience, which is why Harper kind of came to be. What do you find are some of the pain points that Harper have as an organization behind the scenes?
The onboarding of brands, it always comes down to, it's the most frustrating thing in the world for anybody in my position. You know, often brands don't have in-house development teams, and they're working with, you know, limited hours, and everything's being prioritized on a roadmap. The constant battle, I think, for service providers is to get onto that roadmap. You know, I rarely meet a brand where they don't think this is something that customers would want or that they would want to offer the customers. It's always getting priority on the roadmap. So that's something that we've worked a lot on to actually help brands to, you know, we've got about a bunch of agency partners now with some of the UK's leading agencies. And that just makes the integration a lot easier and sometimes, like, you know, very low cost for the brands. And that's been a big development for us, actually.